Okay, so video 2 in making hangman in Java. So I've opened Eclipse here. So I haven't done a video on installing the SDK for Java and installing Eclipse as an IDE, but you can go and find out how to do that. Eclipse is just a piece of software to be able to edit Java. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new class here. So it's a new Java class. I'm going to put it in my test Java folder that I set up when I installed Eclipse, and I'm going to call it Hangman, and that already exists, and I think 2 probably exists, so I'm probably going to have to call this 3. And I'm going to set this as a public object, a public class, and I'm going to make it a subset of lang.object. This is all standard. I mean, I don't always understand all of these things, but I'm going to leave all of those okay and click finish. So now I've got my hangman, and this is called hangman 3 because I've already made a hangman 1 and a hangman 2 versions, but this is going to be a hangman 3 just to demonstrate to you guys. So the first thing we need to do, if we skim back to our diagram, was first thing we need to do is get the word that people are going to guess in our hangman. So let's make the constructor. This is the constructor. So you type public because you want it to be publicly accessible for when you instantiate it. Static, which means it can be called even if you haven't instantiated the object, even though that's not really necessary in this case. Void, meaning there's not going to be any return value from this constructor method, and main, which is the name of all constructor methods. Now in the variables, which is a circular bracket there, we're going to call a string, which says that it's going to have a string input and some args. Now I don't understand properly what that means, but you have to have that usually when you have an constructor. String here with the square brackets and args with the lowercase a. And then we're going to put 2 curly braces in here. And so what is the variable? Usually you start by inputting variables. So I'm gonna put a string variable instead of a string variable with a capital S space, and I'm gonna make a word variable, and I'm gonna set it equal. Or I'm gonna set it equal to none. We're just an empty string at the moment. And then I suppose we want to set that word. And we want to call a method on it, a question method, but we haven't actually created the method yet, so it doesn't really matter, you know, what's in there. So that's as much as we need in the constructor. So now let's make another method down below. So I'll put a comment in so I know what I'm doing. This is going to be a method to get the word which will be guessed. I hope that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same again, public, static, it's going to have a string return value, and here's the name, question, the same as up here. It's going to be the method representing what we're calling up here, so this is we're calling it from here, and we're not going to have it, we're not currently putting anything in. We might have to add something later if we realise what's going on. But at the moment, let's just set up the method. Okay, so string. We're going to have a string word that's called from up above. And now I don't properly understand how this works. I'm learning myself as well. But I do know that if I call this word here, it can be called from the constructor into this method here. And that seems to be not a problem. Now in another video I might have to research and figure out how that's possible, but I figured out that works like that. So I'm going to say J option pane. Oh, good point. In my head I've just realised there's something missing here. Now what we need to do here is we need to call a window to take the word, and to get that window we need to import a library, and the library is called, I'm going to import the javax dot swing dot j option pane, which is basically finish with a semicolon, always finish with a semicolon. That's the library to be able to import the sort of the windows, the little windows that you can ask questions and return values. So we've got this string word. Oh, I do know what's going on here. You know what's going on here? This word here has been defined here, and then we went into this method and we defined a new variable, a word just locally in this variable. It's called local scope, and so we're now going to define this word as equal to the entry from a J option pane window, pane show input dialog, and you can actually see there show input dialog takes it takes two parameters, the object and the message. So the object that we're defining it with, there's nothing. We're not operating in some larger interface, so you don't need anything. And the message is going to be type your hangman word here, and do a dot dot dot. So they know to type their hangman word there. And then we're going to finish that line. So we've now got a word that's a word variable that's being defined. Maybe that's confusing. I mean, if I change this to another variable, then it wouldn't confuse you. Maybe we could change it to another variable like input word, like this. And then I can say now let's change the input word to change the input word to lowercase. That's just an inbuilt method from Java. Then what we do is we just do a quick kind of check. We say J option pane show message dialog, and again it's not associated to any other object, and we just say we want to display the input word that was just inserted, so we know that what we just spoke, what we just wrote, and then we say return word. Oh, sorry, input word. Okay, and finish that. So now if we write out the word, we could write it out here to show you J option pane show message word here actually. So we defined a string word. We then set that word equal to the question method, and I took the question outside the constructor because I didn't want to. I want to keep the constructor nice and simple in here. All the stuff inside this constructor method, the first method that's called when you start the program, I want that to be outside of. I don't want it to be complicated. I want it to be simple. So I've taken this method here, this question method, and taken it to a separate method down here, where we created a new variable input word that was equal to, it was defined as the input from a box which asked you what to type your hangman word here. Or what have I typed there? Yeah. And then it set it to lowercase, and then it sent a message out that just said you know, this is your word. So hopefully, if we run this program, actually we don't even need that one. If we run this program just like this, it should hopefully just work. So let's save it, run. I'm just gonna save Hangman 3 and proceed with launch. And nothing's happening at the moment. So hang on 1 second. You know, I think it's this here. Show needs to be a correct spelling there. So let's try that again. Let's save that. And let's proceed. I just had to pause there just for a second because I'd installed Java 7 and I had 8 my Eclipse to be able to handle that. I just did an update on it. So I'm just going to try clicking this again. And hopefully, go. Here's our input. That's the public, the option panel here. Show input dialog. I'm going to type it like pool, and then it returns pool. It says show message dialog pool. Okay, so I'll maybe go over some of that in the video, but we'll move on to another method.